Hey, what's going on everyone? This is my first video travel blog for OzTREKK. If you don't know me, this is obviously the first one. I am a social media ambassador for OzTREKK for the University of Queensland, and I'm studying my master's in physiotherapy. So today I'm going to be talking to you about transportation. So there's two different types of transportation. There is transportation to Brisbane, and then there's transportation within Brisbane. So if you know where you are going or what school you're going to in Queensland, if it's Brisbane, if it's Sydney, if it's pretty much anywhere, you have to at least a year, I would say, spend looking for plane tickets to come to Australia. So a one-way ticket is usually very expensive. It's probably going to run you around $1,300 to $1,500 one way, and I'm including all of the things that you're going to have to bring. I'm going to be doing another video later on in a couple months of, or maybe probably the last month, so maybe around like September, on what to actually pack in order to like be the most efficient. You're gonna be bringing on 2 or 3 checked bags, including what you're actually gonna be carrying on as well. So there is a lot of extra costs associated with transportation that most people don't really bring into account. So one of the easiest ways that I personally saved money was I knew that the program started on November 26th. So I actually only arrived 6 days before. I would probably suggest maybe another week to kind of get your bearings and kind of know transportation, how you're gonna get to school and just everything around you. But when I was actually coming here, the flight that I had looked at it about 8 months ahead of time. The best places to actually buy your tickets or to actually look at ticket prices are, I'll put them in the link below as well, are Google search, Skyscanner, and then I used one called Momondo. Momondo was the best for me, and I found the best possible price. I actually ended up taking 3 individual flights. So what I did was I took an individual flight from Toronto to Vancouver, so I could actually have a layover for about, when it wasn't even a layover, it was just a one-way ticket, so I could stay in Vancouver for 4 days, see some friends out west before I actually went to Australia, and then one way from Vancouver to Hawaii, and then one way from Hawaii to Sydney or Brisbane with a layover in Sydney. And that was the cheapest. I literally got that ticket for, altogether, I think the ticket was around $700, and then including an extra $200 for baggage, and it actually wasn't that bad. So I probably saved myself close to $600 to $700 just by thinking about where you're going to be in about a year's time, and then putting on a fare alert. And you can just click on that if you search up the date, and you can click fare alert, and whenever the prices drop, you should look at booking. The second thing we're going to talk about is transportation within Brisbane. So there's a lot of different ways you can kind of get around Brisbane. So one is, the best way that I found is this. So this is gold. This is literally gold. So in Brisbane alone, the buses, trains, and the CityCat, which is the ferry that runs through the river that runs throughout the city, all run on this pass. As a student, you also get something called concession, which takes off a percentage of an actual individual fare. So an individual fare for one way is usually around $3.60, I believe, and concession gives you it for about a little less than half price. So it's around $1.50, $1.60 for one way. And if you spend less than an hour at the one location and then you use it again, you actually get the second, so like going home for free. So if you plan everything correctly, you probably can get around fairly easy for free. If you're using the CityCat, it's really slow, like very slow, but you have to use it, and it's a really good way to kind of individually see the city. You can stop off at like downtown South Bank. You can go all the way to the suburbs. It takes you right to class, like right onto campus. Or if you want, you can use it to like go venture downtown if you're going out for a night, if you want to have the nice like scenic tour of downtown Brisbane in the night, which is actually really nice, and I suggest that you do. But for another thing is the trains. So the trains also run on those cards as well. So the trains are straight through from the airport. So if you want, you can take, you have to have the card beforehand. And if you want to get a card, you have to go to a local 7-Eleven and they sell them. So these are $10, and then you can reload as much money on them as you want. you can either have it set to preload. So if it drops below, let's say you say $2 or $3, it will auto load like $10 or $20. But I usually just put about $100 on it and kind of just don't really think about it. Then again, if you want, I'll probably blank this out, but like that. So if you want, there's a number on the top, right? So if you write down that number and you register your card, it will register your balance. So it's almost like a bank card. So if you lose that card, you can actually go on the website, the trans on the back of it says translate.com.au, and then you just type in your account, say you lost your card, and whatever new card that you just bought, the balance from your old account will transfer onto your new card. So it's kind of like a fail safe in case you lose your card. So don't really be afraid to kind of put a little bit more money on it. I don't like having $10 because that's almost a little bit less than like a week travel, especially if you only go to campus once, you're pretty much done after that. Another good thing about Brisbane is the bikes. So bike rentals are very, very easy here if you want to either buy a bike or rent a bike. So renting a bike, you can just use it for like day trips. It's kind of like TD rental bikes in Toronto and Vancouver. Or if you want, you can buy your own bike. A lot of people and a lot of my classmates actually did buy their own bike, and you can get it a good one for about $100 to $200 depending on your price range and depending if you want a mountain bike versus a road bike. The two best places to buy those are off of either Gumtree or off of Facebook Marketplace. And then another thing about bikes is you have to wear a helmet. In Brisbane, it is illegal to not wear a helmet. And same thing goes with scooters, but bikes, you also, okay, this is super weird. This is another weird thing about Brisbane. You have to wear these little things that, I'll put a little picture like right here. You have to wear these little things that kind of pop out. They're twist ties. They're literally just twist ties pulled in because they have a bird here called a magpie that will swoop you as you bike by them. So it's a very territorial bird, and depending on what season it is, so if they have youngs that just hatched, they will literally swoop down and try to bite you and like attack you. It's nuts, it's weird, crazy. But if you have those on your helmet, you'll be all right. Another thing is cars here. So if you want to buy a car, your license, your Canadian license is a 1-to-1 transfer. So if you want, you can go to the government of Australia and just give them your Canadian license. They will give you a temporary Australian license. But I don't know if you get your Canadian back. I think you have to. I haven't really looked into it, to be completely honest, because I'm not about to drive in Australia because they drive on the opposite side of the road. So for me, that's a little, I just don't want to do that. And I don't want to have the responsibility of having another car. You can get pretty much anywhere. The transportation system in Brisbane is very well put together. And they also have a link on your phone called TransLink, and everything is updated to the minute. So if you want to go to a certain stop, you can type it in and then you'll see when the bus is coming, and it has it up to date every like 30 seconds. Another really cool thing is, so in Brisbane for cars, you also have something called gogetcar.com. So if you want, you can rent it. It's kind of like Toronto or Vancouver's Car2Go. So it's something you can just go and pay per hour or per day and actually have a car to go. But if you also want, try to find a friend that has a car. That's probably, I think, the easiest way to do something. So if you want to do like a full day trip, there's a lot of classmates that are either from Australia or friends that do have cars, and they will either do like grocery trips or do like day trips somewhere, and like they're pretty easy going because they're obviously your friends. Another cool thing is that they have another rideshare program as well called Ola Car. It's even cheaper than Uber. So here they have Uber as well, but they don't have Lyft. So Lyft is kind of like this, or Ola Car is like the secondary to Uber. So if you can't get an Uber, you can get an Ola, and it's usually a lot cheaper, but they're a little bit more scarce. So last thing I'm gonna talk about is scooters, Lime scooters. I have a very big love-hate with Lime scooters. They're awesome, they're so much fun, but there's not really rules. And I mean, you can get them up to about 30 kilometers an hour. So, I mean, here's a clip from my first time doing a Lime scooter.
Just completed our first Lime scooter experience here with Anthony. Oh, 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 oh!
Don't take your Lime scooter off a speed bump. So as you can see, it's not the best. I mean, granted, I was going 30 kilometers an hour over a speed bump, so it's my own fault. But I got a little bit of air, fair. But no, like they're a fun mode of transportation, but the city is actually pretty upset about them. Kind of like a hard thing for the Brisbane City Council or anyone to kind of deal with, and they don't really like them. And it's actually illegal not to. So it's the same thing. So it's illegal not to wear a helmet on a Lime scooter, but a lot of Lime scooters don't have helmets on them because people just lose them or ended up stealing them or selling them. I don't really know, but sometimes you'll have one, sometimes you won't. And if you get caught by the police, I think it's like $150 to $200 fine for not having an actual helmet on. It doesn't matter if they don't have it for you, but just as a heads up. So I guess that is the end of my first blog on transportation. So I hope you liked it. See you later. Bye.